Okay, so we're going to go through these questions, and this is all about compound interest. Okay, so if you want to read those in detail, pause it now. So compound interest, these are the formulas that we're going to use. FV stands for your future value, so what you have in the future. PV is the present amount, so what you invest now. That's what we had when we did simple interest. It was like your principal or your original amount. That looks like I'm subtracting that, so let's put a slash, original amount. Okay, I is your interest rate. We have to divide it by 100, and then you have to divide it by the number of times it compounds. And your N, that's your time in years, but you have to multiply it by the number of times it compounds. And you think, I don't know what that means. Well, we'll do a question, we'll do a couple, and you'll see how that plays out. So we'll also show you how to do this on your graphics calculator. Here we go. Exciting. All right, find the interest earned on $8,000, blah, 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 blah. As soon as we see, right, compound, we're not doing IPRT anymore. We're looking at future value, present value, I, and N. So like we did with simple interest, write down your variables that you have to fill in and you have to know. So find the interest earned on $8,000. So that's what you originally invested. So we're popping that in as 8,000. 6 years, we pop our 6 here with an interest of 4.5%. So first thing we have to do is we divide this by 100. So 4.5 over 100. Hopefully you don't need the calculator for that. 0.045. So 0.045. We then have to do a quick little check, and as we set up here with the formula, we have to divide the interest rate by how many times it's compounding, and N, multiply it by how many times it compounds. Now for us, we're lucky because we're compounding yearly. So, you know, that's a times 1, oh sorry, that would be a divide by 1, which has no effect, and a times 1, and again, no effect. So I'm not going to pop those in there, but just so you know, that's what you have to do. We will do one soon, where it's not just 1. Okay, so we write our formula down, future value, present value, 1 plus I to the N, and we substitute in. Okay, 8,000 times 1 plus 0.045 to the 6. We're going to pop that in our calculator. Bracket 1 plus 0.045 to the 6. So 10,418. $10,418, and how many cents? 08. And let's just double check, have we finished? So this is how much we will have in our bank account at the end of 6 years. That includes our $8,000 that we invested, plus whatever interest we earned. So if we read the question, it's asking us, find the interest earned. So we can't leave it like that. We would have to finish and say, therefore, the interest would be the $10,418.08 minus the original amount that we invested. So we've actually earned $2,418.08. Okay, hopefully you find that straightforward. Now, if the question says use the formula, that's what you have to do. If it doesn't say you have to use your formula and you can use your calculator, well, away we go. So we're going to go N, it's going to be 6 times the number of times it compounds. So for us, it's still 1. Interest. Now, be careful here, because when we use the calculator, we do not have to divide by anything. We just pop our interest in as its straight value. The other thing that you have to be careful of, your present value, we need to write that as minus $8,000. Okay? There is no regular payment, so that has to be set to 0. Future value is what we are solving for, and it's yearly. Compounding yearly, they're going to be 1. Okay, let's pop that in our calculator. So we go all the way down here, we exit and we go into the financial. We press F2 for compound and we pop in, so 6, 4.5, negative 8,000, must be 0. Future value is what we're solving for, 1, and as we do that, you can remember they change. Okay, and to find the future value, press F5, and you can see we get exactly the same answer that we got using the formula. Okay, so you would finish off and say future value equals $10,418.08, and then again you would find your interest, just like we did above. All right, so you've got more of these to practice in your workbook. Let's just see one more. Okay, we're reading again. Read, read, read. We come across it's compounding. So again, we're not worrying about simple interest. We are purely looking at future value, present value, I and N. Okay, we read how much did Sarah invest initially. So this time we're finding the present value. Okay, after 5 years Sarah had, so she has that in the future, so that is our 9,250. Here's our interest. Remember we have to divide by, so 0.053, we divide by 100. And this time, because it's compounding quarterly, we must divide by 4. Okay. And we've got N is 5 years, and that becomes 5 times 4. So just remember these two little bits and pieces. This is if we're using our formula. Okay. Now, because we're finding the PV, go back up there, look at your formula, and it's FV 1 plus I to the N. So we type in, we substitute our values, 9,250 is your future value. It says all over, so I pop that, 1 plus, right, 0.0534 all over 4. And we want to take that to 5 times 4. Let's pop that in our calculator. Menu 1. Okay, we're going to go 9250 over 1 plus. You can use your fraction button again, or you can just do what I'm doing, 535 divided by 4. Okay, to the 5 times 4, or 20. So $7,091 you would have to invest, 7,091. Doesn't make sense. Yes, it's less than what we ended up with in the future because that's got our interest added on. So 49 rounds up 1, so 50 cents. Again, you would only do this if it asked you to use the formula. If the question says use your calculator, use technology, or it doesn't say anything at all, I would go straight to tech. All right, so how are we going to go? Well, we know already there's no PMT, so that's 0. This time, we know that future value is 9,250. We're finding PV. Now, interest, if you remember last time, all we have to do is pop our interest in there. Do not divide it by anything, just write it in. N, we have to say 5 times how many times it's compounding. And then we have to come over here and we're saying it's 4. Let's have a look at our calculator. And why is that 4? Because it's quarterly. If it was monthly, this would become 12 and 12, and that would be times 12. Right? So your calculator will automatically divide your interest by the 4 and by the 100. How nice of it. Here we go. Right. Compound, and 5 times 4 just works it out for you. 5.35. Right, that is now 0. Our PMT is still 0, but now 9250. You do not have to make your future value negative. That's only your PV. And it's compounded quarterly, so pop a 4 there, and it changes the CY automatically compounding. we solve for PV, and you can see we get exactly the same answer. Okay, now with compound, if it's asking you to find anything other than future value or present value, you have to use your calculator. All right? So here we go. It's asking how long, so we're finding the N. You will need to invest 4,000. How long do we invest 4,000? So that's our PV, so make sure that's minus. To earn 7,500 in compound interest. So what does that make your future value? It's not just 750, it's 4,750, because remember, that is what you originally put in plus any interest you earned. That is your future value. All right, now it's compounding daily, so this is going to be 365. Okay, and your interest rate is 6. Let's see how we go. So press exit. N is 0, that's 6. PV, negative 4,000. PMT is still 0, 475, 365. Okay, solve for N. So 1045.5. So we're saying N equals 1045.5. And this means it's days. All right, so if I wanted to know what that is in years, we would have to come back up here and say 1045.5. How many days in a year? So divide by 365. We're ignoring leap years. So we've got 2.86. So this will equal 2 years. And then we're going to take the 0.86438, probably don't need that many, times 12. So that will be in 10 months. Okay. And we're not doing an example where you're solving for I, because it's pretty much the same thing. You'd get your N, you'd get all the other stuff, and then you just press F2 to solve for I. So go and have a look. You've got good examples in your textbook. Need to practice.